So, you saw the title, and if you can relate to that, well, so can I. Then, if you can relate to that, then you're gonna really probably like today's discussion, or you're gonna at least really empathize with what I'm about to say. That feeling that you get when you look back at old art and you go, ew, what is that? Like, let's talk about that feeling and kind of why it's important. And I'm going to tell you some things that my mentors have told me. I'm going to tell you things that I've heard from other artists along the way, some things from my thoughts. And I think you're going to really relate to that if you clicked on this because of the title. So if any of that even mildly interests you, press the subscribe button. Also press the like button because I need to know if you do like little discussions like this. Because pressing the like lets me know that, and I put more of that, depending on how many likes it gets. So let's get into the discussion. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go over a drawing that I actually ew at. This is actually an old drawing I did. I can't remember how long ago. Might have been a couple years ago. I don't remember. I mean, like maybe a year ago. And I just screwed it up. And so I'm going to try to repair that in front of you as I'm doing that. It's in ballpoint pen, Also, one last thing, don't forget, I started teaching on Skillshare. Skillshare is this amazing site. I think it's actually kind of the future of YouTube, kind of teaching online, where YouTube is great. YouTube is sometimes spectacle, though, a little bit. But Skillshare keeps it at this kind of quality learning level because they don't really have ads or any of that stuff. So it's really just about the learning. The way it works, and I'm going to say this off the top of my head, by the way. I'm not even promoting it yet. But the way it works is you pay one fee and you can watch any myriad of different classes on there. And they're courses, right? So for example, on YouTube, it would be one video, on a certain topic, maybe several. This one, they break it up into like a 7-video course on just how to draw the eye, which is what I have on there so far. I have this full-blown eye course on there. And I also have a full-blown course on drawing the nose. And I'm going to be adding more week to week on that. So go check the link out in the description. It's amazing. I really think that's the way the kind of the future of online learning would be that. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into this. Excuse me, I'm going to blow my nose. Sorry about that. I am sick. So, ew. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, I'm gonna just yammer while I'm talking about this. So I get that all the time. Okay, so first off, when you actually have a drawing and you look back on it and you go ew, that's usually for a couple of reasons. If it's recent, if it was maybe, let's say, a day ago or something, or a couple of days ago where you thought it was good while you were doing it, and then you kind of look at it a few days later and you're like, ew, that sucks. Wow, what happened? What happened to that? That looked better in my mind when I was doing it. Usually what that is that you were staring at it too long. You were too close to it. You were too involved, emotionally close to it. And I think what happened is a few days later, you look at it from a kind of fresh eye perspective. And I've talked about this before, and that's why you always hear that advice. Look at your drawing through a mirror, if it's a physical drawing. And then if it's a digital drawing, flip it. Do the flip tool. Because, flipping it gives you, again, a fresh eye perspective on it. And that balance and stuff like that will happen either way. Yeah, that will... you're basically viewing it from the point of view of another person now who's not very close to it emotionally. So that's kind of like what that is from a few days later. And it really helps to get that point of view. I really recommend putting all your physical drawings into a mirror and kind of looking at it. And you're like, ew, it looks like it's shifting to the left all at once or something. What was I saying? Sorry, the camera wigged out. And I had to go kind of back to this. So that's actually a good sign, by the way. So that would be the temporary kind of first sign. It's good to spot those mistakes in order to repair them. Spotting mistakes is the beginning to being able to repair them. It's funny how that works. I know people seem very negative about that. They're very like, oh, well, there are mistakes. What am I gonna do? I'm bad, whatever. You don't do it like that. You spot mistakes and you're like, okay, how do I improve that? And then maybe what I do personally is I grab another piece of art that is similar and I try to bridge the gap. I'm saying like, what is the difference between that person's art and mine? You gotta grab similar subject matter, similar lighting, or similar, like, you know, probably the same thing like digital, or, you know, as close as you can possibly get it. You know, usually the similar lighting really makes it very apparent. And you're like, what is it missing there? Is there just a level of detail that's just not there? And is that level of detail, is that something that you could possibly do, but are just not doing it? You're not concentrating hard enough to do it. Or you're not spending enough time on whatever piece that you're doing. You have to push yourself a bit more. You know, thoughts like that. You're pinpointing exactly where your bottleneck is. Bottleneck would be like, think of like a bottle, right? Where exactly is the progress stopping? Hold on, I'm about to blow my nose. Sorry about that. All right, let's go back to this. So where is that stopping? That's a great identifier mark. So let's talk about the other one. Let's talk about where you are not improving for, let's say you see an artwork from 10 years ago and you're like, ew, that is so gross. That's usually a good feeling, because that feeling means that you've improved, that your current artwork is better than that, and at least that's what you feel, and that's a good thing. That's it for that. You know, it is cringy, it's still like, oh well, but you know, that's a good thing from 10 years ago. There's nothing really you can do about that. It's just you can go, oh, that's the way I used to draw, that's amazing, or I used to think that was good, and just kind of reminisce on that. One thing about both of these, correct? When you're doing, so everyone does bad drawings, even professionals, even really pro artists will occasionally do a terrible drawing. I mean, you can't hit them all out of the park, right? I mean, they're more careful about it, and what they consider bad and what we consider bad, or what I consider bad from what you may consider bad as a beginner, are completely different things. But for the most part, generally, that I've seen some crummy drawings in some very, very big artists' sketchbooks, and just they don't show those sketchbooks to everybody, you know, or they usually run into them at a convention or something like that, or you see their actual real sketchbook and you're like, wow, that's not that good, or like that sketch, you're like, ew, like they just didn't put enough time into it, they didn't think a lot about it, it wasn't for work, it wasn't to display, it was just this doodle in their sketchbook, and it just happened to not be very good. So if it's a sketch like that, be aware not all sketches are created equal, right? So if I did a sketch that I really hated, it might have just had a crummy day. I might have just like, been out of practice at drawing that particular item, and it just came out really crummy. It doesn't mean that is an assessment of where you were at that time overall, if that makes any sense. So let me go over that one more time. So if you see an old sketch of yours and you're like, wow, that really stinks. Wow, that's terrible. It doesn't always mean that is an overall kind of assessment of where you were at. It doesn't show your level in general at that point. It just shows that you drew that particular thing not very well. So I wouldn't really use it too. You have to keep that in mind. I wouldn't be too harsh on your past self. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever gone into your let's say an old sketchbook, if you kept it around, hopefully you keep a lot of your old sketchbooks. Have you ever been through an old sketchbook and then maybe 95% of it is trash, and but you have one sketch in there, you're like, whoa, that was really, really good. What was I? Wow. Has that ever happened to you? If you have, comment, please, because that has happened to me a bunch of times, and a lot of people I know. I'm just wondering, actually I'm really, really wondering, that's not even like me assuming that you have, I'm actually literally wondering, has that ever happened to anybody in the watching this? Because it's definitely happened to me. And so what does that mean? Does that mean that one sketch is like an assessment of where I'm at? No, it's not. You know, I mean, it was good, but it was not like an overall assessment. It's like, oh, I got really lucky, cool, for the level I was at that point. So just kind of take stuff with a grain of salt. I guess when you do flip through old sketchbooks, it's not even so much as you're looking at one drawing. When you see an entire sketchbook, it's kind of like, wow, that does give you a vague idea of what level you're at, because you can kind of see a myriad of different sketches that you did within that, I don't know, month or year. But that's it. That's kind of all I have to say on that particular topic. I would say don't cringe too hard at your old stuff. It's a great learning tool. These things that you look at, they're not really, I mean, you can look at them and be like, you can look at old drawings in the same way you look at old family photos of you when you're a little kid and you have a horrible haircut. You could look at them like that and go, ha ha ha, that's dumb and ew and weird. Basically, instead of doing that, take them and kind of look at them as artifacts for your learning. Use that as a roadmap of what you need to do in order to get better now. Kind of learn of where you're at now, and you're going to be looking back at your drawings probably now overall and kind of cringing one day. And that's kind of what we hope for, right? So that's kind of it. Thank you so much. If you stuck around till the very end of this video, please give me a like. So again, I know that you like these type of videos. Also, please say hi to me in the comments below. Don't forget, I'm on Skillshare. Skillshare, yo. Go check that link out in the description. It's going to be a lot more good stuff to come, and I will see you next time.